Hello and welcome to Convict Inc. I'm your host, Robert Rosso. This one's going to be about my history of addiction. I was going to actually do this a long time ago and call it Junkie Loser. And the reason I was is because when I was in Butner back in 2008 or 9 or whatever, when I first thought up the idea for Convict Inc., which was in website form, and started writing, I used the term, I referred to myself as a junkie, and that doesn't bother me in the slightest. I can care less. However, there was somebody that I was talking to some time ago. Her name was Rachel, and she wanted me to actually title it The Struggling Citizen. Well, I'm not a citizen right now. I'm incarcerated. So I just came up with the title that I did. What prompted this is today, actually, was it last night? No, it was this morning. Somebody came in that knows about Convict Inc. and has followed me for a long time, like the guy that I knew, that I met in the Washington County Detention Center. And it's very similar. I reached out to this guy. I don't actually remember talking to him on the phone. No, I wasn't wasted when I did. Well, I better backtrack that one. Anyway, I don't remember talking to him, but I reached out to him, and he was. You can see that he hasn't been following for a couple of years because he's been locked up for about a year and a half. But he was just really, really bummed. He heard through family or friends, whatever, that I was struggling with addiction, and thought I would pull it out based on the positive feedback that I gave to him when he was struggling with his addiction. And once again, it just made me feel like a big piece of shit for being in the situation I am today. So that's what caused me to talk about this today. And I'm going to go ahead and start with where it all began. I went to rehab here beginning, what was it, November of last year? No, was it September? I'm sorry, September of last year. And I discovered a lot of things about myself. And one of them was abandonment issues, and that goes into grandmother's issues with a sister that got knocked up when she was at too early of an age, 14. But that doesn't really matter. A lot of my issues, like damn near every other addict, starts in childhood. It's not our parents' fault. I'm not going to sit there. This isn't to blame on not one soul or one person. This is strictly talking about what happened in my life. And if I talk about me and Marta in any way, this is nothing in a reflection to her. So I just want to put that out there because I'm sure at some point I'll just say something about that. Anyway, I first smoked pot when I was 8 years old. A friend, brother, then at the same age, I had a couple of sisters that were older, that they were about 16, 15 at the time. And then it wasn't, a few times, whatever. But then came an alcohol event. I remember drinking. Well, as a kid, we were able to drink sips of alcohol, little cups at family events. I was Italian Catholic, big Italian family. We were able to drink coffee with a lot of milk in it or whatever, and a little bit of booze. But I remember one Thanksgiving in particular, drinking to get drunk. And I believe I was 10 years old. Cocaine came into my life the night that I made my confirmation into the Catholic Church. That was in the 8th grade. I did start school a year early for my age. My birthday is in November. My mom pushed me up a grade for whatever reason. She was actually going to start a career or whatever. But so I was like 12, and I loved it. I'll never forget going to a guy named Sam Galetti's birthday, our confirmation party, and kissing 2 different girls. Gave me balls to do that, which I wouldn't have necessarily done prior to that. Danced, like I owned the place. And then that summer, I started doing coke. It was basically snorting coke on the weekends, just to get a little quarter gram, just a little bit, but it wasn't. Actually, it was my 9th grade summer, not my 8th grade summer, that I did it on the weekends. So marijuana every day started in the 9th grade. And that was more than likely, I was sent to public school. I got kicked out of Catholic school. I couldn't pass the test to get in. And then when I went to summer school, I got into it with a nun. And I had to go to public school, which was like going to prison. From that point on, like starting day one in public school, it was absolutely like going to the joint. It was like going to LA County Jail for me, because I wasn't around white kids or light-colored Hispanic kids. I was around everybody, and maybe you can say I was a privileged white guy. I don't know, but whatever the case was, I smoked cigarettes like a freight train, and smoked weed every single day before school. And I can now look back and say it was about anxiety. In the 10th grade, after December and into my second semester, that's when the alcohol started coming pretty tough. That we did something called a Friday social, where we skipped school. In the mornings on Friday, we'd skip like that period, and then first period and then second period and drink. And then that became more, and then going to school buzzed on alcohol became fun. And I was a poor student in the public school. The public school system was so far behind Catholic school system that I already knew everything when I got there, meaning all the literature, all the work. So I didn't even have to try. I can actually pass. And in the 10th grade year, I want to say it was March, I did get kicked out for having marijuana and for sale. That's when I caught my first felony. So at the age of 15, also shortly after that episode, shortly after getting kicked out of school, I was doing coke on the weekends, and then a friend of mine introduced me to freebase. The way we did it back then is we did put it in ammonia, and we cooked it up, not cooked it up. You drop it, cocaine and ammonia, and it comes out pure that way. There's a process, but it doesn't matter. So we smoked it that way. Then we ended up using baking soda and making what's called crack nowadays. And there was a few runs to the crack project areas, but that lasted around up until the age of right when I turned 16. And that was the first time I had suicidal thoughts, and came damn near close to a suicide episode based on me being strung out on crack. Smoked marijuana always in my teens. At the age of 17, I once again discovered cocaine, and then that's when I started selling it right after my 17th birthday, and started using it casually on the little dabbles here and there. I was with my first wife at the time. She was my junior high school sweetheart. She was pregnant when I first started doing that, and she didn't know for a little while. Then after the baby was born, we both did it together. I did cocaine pretty much daily after my first daughter was born, from the age of 18 up until about 22. I bet you I missed 90 days, with the exception of the days that I went to prison for 60-something days and a rehab for 30 days. I did coke every day, and cocaine, actually, if I do a lot of it, would put me to sleep. I wasn't big on drinking, mixing cocaine at that point in my life. That would actually come in when I was about 20, 21. But when I first started 17 and 18 and even 19, not so much. But coke was absolutely, I was a big coke boy back then in my hometown of San Pedro. Probably had a clientele of 40 people for sure. And, I've referred to myself as a struggling drug dealer because I didn't really make a bunch of money. It was about the partying first. It was about the lifestyle. I was conflicted. I wanted to be the family man, like my mom's family, the Italian family man guy that had 5 kids. Me and my ex wanted 5 kids, and I was going to be my father, run the business, run the labor's union, become a labor representative, labor union representative, and but the lifestyle that I chose just didn't mix. It wasn't made for a working man. And once I got the taste of that money and was able to, and I also surfed, that just kept me in that cycle. I was busted at the age of 18, 19, and that started the career criminal, getting in trouble with the law. I was originally sentenced to 1 year in the county jail with a 3-year joint suspension. I ended up doing about 62 or 63 days. When I got out, I did not ever pass one drug test. I failed 4 immediately, and a warrant was placed out for my arrest, and I ran from that charge. And I thought about this the other day, about how many times in my life I've been incarcerated for my addiction issues. That was one. In Arkansas, I did out a parole violation based on dirty urine. I wasn't even dirty at that one and wasn't using, but I did get hit based on so-called addiction issues. And, of course, this time I'm doing now. Anyway, let me get back to the point. So, after I got busted for cocaine, So, I got in trouble with the Code California, did a year, did the 60 days. Then I got the probation violation. I stayed in California for a year, me and my ex did, and we ended up in Arkansas. Thanksgiving Day, 1991, we ended up back there. I think I was 22 years old. And we did coke in Arkansas for up until the summer of 93. And no, it wasn't the summer of 93. So the summer of 92, I got busted in Arkansas, and we did coke up until Christmas or the New Year. And after that, we stopped doing coke together. We stopped the cocaine thing. And for about a 6-month period, I became a raging alcoholic. And what I mean by that is when my wife went to bed and my kids were put in bed, I drank myself to sleep. And that's what I did. And I was also I got busted in Arkansas in August of 1992. I was facing a substantial amount of time in Arkansas. Well, I thought I was. In Arkansas, what happens is they give you big numbers and you little time. Back then, you're doing on a 10-year sentence. People were doing a year and a half and stuff like that. So, but in the numbers, they're like, you're facing 10, 40 life. So I didn't really know what was going to happen at that point, so I would drink myself to bed. As a matter of fact, I got sentenced at that point, and I was going to end up doing like a year and a half or something, and I was depressed over that even. So in the summer of 93 was the first time I did methamphetamine, and that was kind of on a fluke. Let me back up. That's not true. It was not the first time. The first time was when I was driving cocaine back and forth, and then like 91, 92 to Arkansas, and somebody gave me some meth, and I did some, and I didn't really like it. Also, I should back up. There was a time that I was working in the labor's union, and I think I was about 19. Somebody had what's called peanut butter crank that he made. He was a Hell's Angel associate biker guy, and I remember we did a demolition job, and I tore the fuck out of everything. So there was those 2 times prior to when I started using methamphetamine in 93. And when I did, the first night I used it in Arkansas, I got a recycler newspaper, opened it up, and
You have 1 minute remaining.
The next day I purchased a house on owner financing that I came up with on a whim because of the meth. And built a really, really cool house at that time in like 4 days. I put everything together, all high on meth. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to go ahead and do part 2 of this tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Please support this channel by checking out the merchandise section. Bye.